stuff,
Sure.
right? I think you told me before we started 3 main ways that water gets into a house.
Yeah, and it's probably the most misunderstood portion of your insurance policy is water damage and how it's covered and how it's not covered. Your regular basic homeowner's policy typically, because every company's a little bit different.
Okay.
But if the water comes in through a pipe that bursts, if it's a washing machine that overflows, a dishwasher that overflows, you may have a refrigerator with a ice or water line that has some kind of malfunction.
The frozen pipe last winter.
Frozen pipe, that's covered under your basic homeowner's policy, and that would be the damage to your actual structure and your personal property are covered by your basic homeowner's policy in those cases. Now, the big event that happened this past week to a lot of people was a backup of sewer and drain event for most people.
Yeah.
There were some instances where there's flooding going on, which is separate altogether. We'll get into that in a minute. But when it comes to the backup of sewer and drain events or sump pump failure, most of your basic policies do not cover that. You have to have an endorsement or a rider on the policy called backup of sewer or drain rider.
Yeah.
And if you don't request it, hopefully your agent did a review with you and suggested it, and especially if it's finished basement, it's a no-brainer. The riders are typically pretty inexpensive to get. I mean, I've seen them anywhere from $50 a year to $150 a year extra on your policy.
And so many of us are thinking, oh, I don't want any extras. I want to save money on this and save money on that. But this is the whole point, to have adequate insurance. I mean, there's an adjective in that sentence for a reason here. Not just have insurance, but have adequate insurance.
Yeah, insurance that will help you.
Absolutely. And it's all over the map with different insurance companies too as to what they're going to cover under that particular rider.
Okay.
Some are as low as $2,500 is as much as max as that they'll go. Very common is $10,000 of coverage on the backup of sewer or drain rider. Some I've seen go up as high as $25,000. Your policy deductible generally applies, so you got to pay that first.
Yep.
And it usually covers things like the water extraction, the dry out process, any kind of mitigation to ensure that mold or bacterial doesn't set in, the structural things like carpet and drywall if your basement's finished. That type of thing is, like I said, usually under most policies covered. A lot of these policies, though, don't cover contents. There are a couple insurance companies out there that do cover contents in the event of a backup of sewer and drain situation. But I know a majority of them do not. That's one thing that's kind of excluded in this event. So if you have a couch, if you have a TV or dresser that gets damaged, you may not have any coverage for that, even if you have this rider. But at least it gets the dry out, the water extraction. It becomes very, very costly.
Yeah.
The drywall, the carpet. And most people
even the electrical, they say the Romex, the wire in the walls, if the water's flooded that out, it's not rated for underwater use. Nope. It's got to be replaced. All of this becomes so expensive. American Dreamer, you're listening to Michigan Real Talk. We're talking with Rob Peterson of Rob Peterson Insurance Agency, Inc., and he's telling us some of the ins and outs here when it comes to the water damage many of us faced and the importance of knowing what's in your policy. Talk to your professional. If you need help, you can reach us off air at 248-545-4700. That's 248-545-4700. We'd be glad to put you in touch with an insurance professional if you need it.
Yeah, and then a little bit later in the show, we'll be talking a little bit about